Well, good afternoon. It's Tuesday, the first Tuesday in September, and every time this year I just have to pause and remember that it's both football season and baseball season. It kind of reminds me of the Looney Tunes cartoon, where they hold up the sign, it's rabbit season, it's duck season, it's both seasons, whatever it is, but it's football and baseball, Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports, all for you tonight. Good evening, everybody, and it's great to be with you again. Yeah, live from wherever you are. Here you go. And so I want to thank you. Hope you've had a great Tuesday afternoon. Hope you enjoyed the show this morning. And so here we are live this afternoon. We're going to talk a lot of different things today, okay? I had a football fantasy draft last night. I want to get into that with you a little bit in just a few minutes. But there was and is afternoon baseball this afternoon. A game to talk about, a big game involving a playoff team. It was Baltimore. It was Baltimore in Tampa taking on the Rays. And in fantasy, guys, okay, let's use Travis d'Arnaud, catcher, first baseman for the Tampa Bay Rays. And, I look in the box score occasionally, and it's like he hits 2 home runs, and oh my gosh. So here I am in my fantasy playoffs. Absolutely none of my players could hit yesterday. So I pick up d'Arnaud because they're playing a doubleheader against the Orioles. I mean, he should get 5 RBIs, right? He should have 3 or 4 hits. So this afternoon, he goes 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. I also add Avisail Garcia to my team because they're playing the Orioles, a left-hander. Surely he'll get 2 or 3 hits. 0 for 4. As a team this afternoon, 5 for 30. Go the Rays. That's a hefty 167 batting average for the whole team. Yeah. The opponent I have has Tommy Pham, who got 2 of those. But not my guys. No, my guys go collective 1 for 8. Tampa loses to the Orioles. Are you kidding me? Games that matter. And here Tampa loses the first end of a doubleheader 4-2. These games matter, guys. Tampa, I'm just telling you, little secret, let you in on it. You got to beat the Orioles. You may not beat the Yankees every game. You may not beat Boston every game, but you got to beat the Orioles every game. Because as I look at the standings, the wild card standings up to the moment, Tampa and Cleveland tied for the first wild card or the 2 wild card spots with Oakland a game behind both of them. So it's feast or famine, and I'm getting text messages. I got one here. I need to find a girl who loves sports. Somebody just sent me that. Okay. Well, maybe I have. You never know. But that's the way it goes. It's just Tampa and Cleveland and Oakland fighting it out. Only 2 teams of the 3 will make it. 1 will go home, and Tampa loses to the Orioles. Oh, my gosh. So, news this afternoon. Back up from the dead heap, otherwise known as the injured list, Yankee star first baseman Edwin Encarnacion. He was activated off the injured list today. He's batting 5th in the lineup tonight against Texas as the designated hitter. Before going on the injured list on August the 3rd, he had been hitting .238 with 9 homers, 27 RBIs in 36 games since the Yankees acquired him on June the 15th. That is a big bolster to a Yankee lineup. Now, what does that mean? That means that going forward, Ford probably not going to play as much because Edwin Encarnacion will. Probably means he'll be the designated hitter. What does that mean for someone like Clint Frazier? You don't have it so many spots. Only 9 people can bat a game. So there we go. So let's look at another injured player back off the scrap heap, known as the injured list. Wilson Contreras. Yes, Chicago Cub great. One of the best catchers in Major League Baseball. And if you can send me a message through Messenger, I don't have a way of checking my email or my chat room right now. So send me a text message or a message messenger through Messenger. 919-922-9093. Write it down. 919-922-9093. Write it down. Text me a question. I'll get to it, I promise. During this show. I promise. Or you can send me some of you know my Facebook address. Some of you are my Facebook friends. Send me questions. I'll answer them. I'll talk to you. I'm looking for you. Let's get on with it. Wilson Contreras back in the lineup tonight as the Cubs take on the Seattle Mariners. Talked about it a moment ago. The standings. Well, where are the Little Bears in this wild card race? I can tell you where they are. They're holding down the second wild card spot in the National League by 2.5 games as we speak over the Phillies. In the regular standings in the division, they are 3 games behind the Cardinals. I told you this the last 2 weekends of the season. 4 games in Chicago the week before the season ends, and the last weekend of the season, 3 games at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri, between the Cardinals and the Cubs. Bitter rivals, longtime rivals. It just doesn't get any better. Cubs get their man Contreras back. Joe Madden would like to say his team gets energy from Contreras. Well, if they do, then they're about to get energized. So he's activated from the list. Now there are 4 catchers on the Cubs. They shouldn't run out of those. Victor Caratini, Jonathan Lucroy, Taylor Davis. Lucroy was signed as a free agent on August 5th. Contreras was placed on the injury list August 3rd. He played in 3 minor league rehab games for AAA Iowa. His last came on Monday, yesterday, when he went 1 for 3 with a double and a walk. He's played 87 games for the Cubs so far this year, during which he's hit .275, 19 homers, 57 ribbies, a .890 OPS. He was an all-star this year for the 2nd consecutive season. So there we go. Contreras back with the Cubs. Edwin Encarnacion back with the Yankees. Big ads right now. Now, Cano, a third one. Things come in threes. You've heard that, right? So Robinson Cano, New York Met, previous New York Yankee great Robinson Cano. After a brief 2-game rehab with Class A Brooklyn, he was activated from the injured list today. He went on the injured list in early August with a left hamstring tear, but he's not in the lineup tonight. Now, you wonder, why is Cano activated and not in the lineup tonight? Because they're facing Jacob deGrom. And do you know who Jacob deGrom is? Well, he's only the best pitcher the Mets have. That game's going to first pitch be thrown at 7:05. Scherzer for Washington, deGrom for the Mets. Does pitching get any better than that? The answer, Arnie, is no. But Cano is activated. Now, at the time of his injury, earlier this month, he was batting .600 in 4 August games. And he had scuffled all year long. But when the calendar turned August and the weather was getting hot, so was Robbie Cano. In the month of August, 9 for 15. That's a .600 batting average for you mathematician types. So Cano's back with the Mets, not starting tonight, but back on the roster. There's 3. Here's some more good injury news. I'm full of good news today. It's like I'm Santa Claus. I've got my basket of goodies on my shoulder. I'm coming down a chimney near you, and all of my goodies are good news. Glasnow. Remember Tyler Glasnow? Pitching so awesomely well earlier in the year until he had this forearm injury. The Rays, of course, lost today once again to the Orioles, the second worst team in Major League Baseball. Glasnow completed his second rehab outing with AAA Durham on Monday. He went an inning and a third. He threw 33 pitches. That's the most he's thrown since he went on the injured list May the 10th. He was in the clubhouse, the Tampa Bay Ray clubhouse, before Tuesday's doubleheader against the Orioles. Still unsure if his next start comes with the Rays or in another rehab game. I say it comes with the Rays. He said, quote, health feels really good. Continuing his quote, I'm definitely excited to get back into big league games and get that adrenaline and come back and contribute, end of quote. That adrenaline, like, when you get excited doing a podcast. You know what I'm talking about. Rays manager Kevin Cash said the team still has to talk things through before deciding what is next for Tyler Glasnow. I'm telling you, my predictions here on players and what's going to happen to them, where they're going to go, I've been spot on. Last week, remember a player by the name, there we go, he's back on Gavin Lux. I told you last week Gavin Lux was coming up. Pick him up, stash him away. Maybe you listened to me. There's a reason why I'm doing the podcast and you're listening. I'm joking. But really, Gavin Lux is that great of a talent. And I've referred to Greg Jeffries many times. Do you remember Greg Jeffries? Number 9, New York Met phenom, circa 1988. The Mets call him up in September, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but he hit really well. He was speed on the bases. He was power, switch hitter. Could play all over the place. The Mets took this infusion of youth, okay, and it resulted in a trip to the National League Championship Series, where, of course, they were upset by the 1988 World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers. The last time the Dodgers would win the World Series was in 1988, but the point being, though, not that, but that Jeffries being brought up was a true spark plug for the Mets in 88, and Gavin Lux back in the starting lineup again tonight at second base, 2 hits last night. He's going to keep hitting. These teams need players. They need an infusion. The Rays are going to get this with Tyler Glasnow, okay? He's going to come up. He's going to pitch his next game, I think, in Tampa. Maybe he's an opener. Maybe he's a middle reliever. Tampa's tied for the wild card lead. They need to win. They're only a game up on the A's. So Kevin Cash, in talking things through, he said what's best for the club. He said he was encouraged by what he had heard. Quoting, really encouraged by his performance. End of quote, referring to Glasnow. Quoting again, we haven't decided yet. We're still talking through it. We were just thrilled Glass got in 2 innings or whatever it was Monday. He felt good. Everyone said the stuff looked good. Now, Glasnow's not the only Tampa Bay pitcher fantasy players who continues to make progress. Do you remember last year's Cy Young Award winner Blake Snell? Sure you do. He's scheduled for his 3rd and final bullpen session tomorrow. And if that is successful, now he had surgery to remove these loose bodies from his left elbow, he will throw either a live bullpen session or pitch in a rehab game for Durham or Montgomery on Saturday. And after that, he's back in the big leagues if all goes well. The Rays today recalled Guillermo Heredia and left-handed pitcher Brendan McKay. Now, Tampa now has 34 active players, 18 pitchers. They got another part of their doubleheader coming up tonight. Don't you just love this time of year when you have all these players and, oh my gosh, you could let everybody pitch every day, it seems. Did you catch that Dodger-Rocky game last night? 7 home runs between them. And let's check some injury updates real quick, can we? Adam Eaton, Washington National. I'm trying to focus on teams who are playoff eligible, playoff bound, and certainly the Nats are one of those teams. Adam Eaton will undergo an MRI. He was supposed to undergo an MRI today on his right knee. It tightened up on him, forced him to exit the game early yesterday. He was hit on the knee by a pitch Wednesday, out of the lineup for 3 games after that. He returned Monday, out again. Haven't seen the results on that MRI yet. Critical for the Nationals because Eaton in that 2-hole in the batting order and playing the outfield is a critical clog in that order. So let's keep our eye on that one. Jock Peterson, how about his game last night? I talked about it a little bit this morning, and you heard me. I've got into the chat room, guys, so let's do it, okay? I am in the chat room. So here we go. Jock Peterson last night, 2 home runs. I'm letting everyone know I'm in the chat room. I'm typing it in. So Peterson, after hitting 2 home runs, he's going back on a ball. Highlight reel catch against the Rockies. Bruise. X-rays today were negative. Not in the lineup tonight. You know, he's got 31 home runs. Only plays against right-handed pitchers, so he only plays about 2/3 of the game. Now, you know, earlier in the week, on Sunday, Dodger pitcher Dustin May, wow, that was scary. He was hit in the head by a liner off the bat of Jake Lamb. He passed concussion protocol after the game, said he had no headaches or symptoms. He said it helped that the ball got a slight piece of his glove before it hit him in the head. That's a good call. Yu Darvish for the Cubs. Scratch from Sunday's games due to tightness in his forearm is tentatively scheduled to start for the Cubs this Saturday in Milwaukee. Eugenio Suarez for the Reds. They received good news about him on Monday when an MRI on his left hand came back negative. They call it a contusion. I always thought a contusion was a bruise. Why don't you just call it a bruise? I'll call it a bruise. So he has a bruise. And he's not playing because he's got a bruised hand. And this was the best case scenario. His hand is swollen, hit on the hand during an at-bat by Cardinals pitcher Daniel Ponce de Leon. So they're waiting for the swelling to go down, the bruise to go away, and then we're going to have Suarez back in the Reds lineup. How about Joey Gallo for the Rangers? He's on the injured list. Remember, he fractured his hamate bone in his right hand. He's expected to swing a bat Monday. He could be swinging outdoors on Tuesday, so he's getting ramped up. Hunter Pence for Texas, likely to join the team when they play the Orioles starting Thursday. He had some back problems. I go back to my Yankees. Luis Severino threw 33 pitches in a minor league rehab start with AAA Scranton on Sunday. Struck out 2, then threw another 12 pitches in the bullpen. Not far away. So those are some injured players. We'll see how they do coming back. Awards today. What about Mike Clevenger and Cardinals right-hander Jack Flaherty? Let's hear it for those 2 guys. Yeah. Pitchers of the month for August. Well, let's look at what they did and why they'd win such an award. Clevenger, American League, Cleveland Indian, fantastic pitcher. In August, struck out 51 batters over 36 innings. He had a 1.96 ERA. He won 5 games, lost none, and hitters only hit 207 off of him. This is his first career Pitcher of the Month award. I said yesterday I thought Flaherty would win it. He did. He should have. He's 23 years old. Check this out. A 0.71 ERA. I told you yesterday, 3 earned runs in 38 innings. And batters hit only 145 against him. Now, he entered the All-Star break this year in mid-July with a 4.64 ERA, but since then has the Major League best ERA at .98. Out of sight. Lenny Melnick, How are you, my friend? It's good to see that you are in the chat room with me this afternoon. So Flaherty went from a 4.64 ERA before the All-Star break to a .98 ERA since the All-Star break. He also has the top batting average against since the All-Star break. Batters are only hitting 161 off of him since the All-Star break. He has struck out 71 and walked only 15 in that span. So kudos to Clevinger and Flaherty, pitchers of the month in their respective leagues. Now, more awards. I like awards. I love bringing you guys good news on a Tuesday afternoon. It's a lot of fun, isn't it? We've worked hard today. We've come home from a day of work. Now we're sitting down. We turn on a podcast. We want to get some good information. We want to congratulate. We want to feel like our fantasy teams have players that are worthy of our respect. And here are two relievers, Aroldis Chapman of the Yankees and Pirates closer Felipe Vasquez. American League and National League relievers of the month for August. Let's talk about Vasquez first. Vasquez, who has taken, I love this, he has self-proclaimed his own nickname. And if you're listening, this is such a great nickname. He calls himself Nightmare. That's right. He had Players Weekend a couple weekends ago. The back of his jersey had the name Nightmare. Not on Elm Street, but Nightmare. Well, he was. He lived up to his name. Opponents got you ready for this? Lenny, you love this stuff. These are nuggets. Lenny is so rubbing off on me. In the month of August, and that's a good thing that Lenny's rubbing off on me. In the month of August, opponents only got 4 hits in 32 at-bats off of Vasquez. So again, if you're mathematically disinclined, that's a 125 batting average against. They struck out 11 times in 32 at-bats. So he's averaging a little better than 1 every 3 batters he's striking out. Not bad. He converted 3 of 4 save chances. Now the Pirates don't win much, guys. But when they do, it's because of Nightmare. He allowed a single run over 10 1/3 innings. He lowered his season ERA to 1.68. And since the All-Star break, Flaherty's is awesome. Of course, he's a starter. Hola to Andrea. All right. We're talking Felipe Vasquez, National League reliever of the month. Since the All-Star break, the ERA of Felipe Vasquez, 0.59. Now, here we go. Here's the discussion. We go back to trade deadline. The Pirates could have dealt him, and they could have taken in a haul from someone, but no, they kept him, and it's done them so much good because here I look at the standings on September the 3rd, and the Pirates are 17 games out of the American League Central. 9 games from now, they're going to be eliminated. In the wild card, just for fun, let's take a look. They're 14 games out of the wild card, and in 12 games, they're eliminated from that too. Now, they've won 8 of 10. They've won 4 in a row. But the old saying goes, way too little, way too late. Who was the American League? And it's great timing on Andrea Lamont's part because I know she wants to hear me talk about this player because the American League reliever of the month, none other than Aroldis Chapman, New York Yankee, phantasmic closer. Let's talk about him. Chapman in August. It was pretty good what Vasquez did, right? Holding hitters to 4 hits. But Chapman outdid him. He held opponents to 3 singles in 36 at-bats. .083 batting average. 20 strikeouts and 5 walks. Converted all 9 of his save opportunities in helping the Yankees reclaim the best record in all of baseball. He threw 8 of his 11 fastest pitches speed-wise of the season in the month of August. Sounds to me like Aroldis is getting into shape. He's going to need to. If you look at the American League standings, the Yankees 90-49, the Astros 90-49. Egad, they have the same record, don't they? And if they finish tied, the Yankees have the best record because they have the best regular season record among the two clubs. So Houston knows they have to finish one game above the Yankees to have home field throughout the playoffs because the Dodgers, or in the American League, the Dodgers are 90-50. So 90 wins for the Yankees, 90 wins for the Astros, 90 wins for the Dodgers. The Dodgers have one more loss at this point in time. That's interesting within itself to me. Does it matter who has home field advantage? If you don't think so, ask the Cubs. I have talked ad nauseum about how bad the Cubs are on the road and how good the Cubs are at home. You think home field matters? You bet your bottom dollar it matters, especially in the playoffs. When you got all the crowds, it's funny. You go to games, I don't care where you go. Go to Fenway Park. Go to Yankee Stadium. Go to Dodger Stadium. Go to any of Chicago. Go to any of these parks where you have winning teams, big fan bases. It's a good crowd during the regular season, but nothing like the playoffs. I could probably spend a whole hour talking about my experiences going to Yankee Red Sox playoff games. Oh my gosh. I won't do that this show. But it's a different world. It's a different environment. You want to talk some more awards? How about Rookie of the Month? These are two guys that I have on every fantasy team I own, I think. Well, if I don't, I wish I did. I have them on most. Alvarez and Aquino, Double-A. Houston's Jordan Alvarez, Cincinnati's Aristides Aquino. Let's talk about Alvarez first. He hit .309 in August, 9 homers, 26 RBIs. He's going to be the American League Rookie of the Year. If you disagree with that, let me know. Aquino got started too late, but he set a major league record with 15 home runs in a month. Fastest major leaguer to reach 10 home runs. Fastest major leaguer in games played to reach 15 home runs. Last year, he got one at bat in 2018 in Cincinnati. This year, I guess he thought, I'm going to get a lot more than that, guys. He hit .320 in August. He had a .767 slugging percentage. That's Ruthian. He knocked in 33 runs to go with his home runs. That tied Hall of Famer Frank Robinson, 1962, Greg Vaughn, 1999, for Cincinnati franchise record by any player, rookie or veteran, in a calendar month. His 14 homers also set the NL record for rookies in any calendar month. He homered in 3 consecutive innings against the Cubs on August 10th. What an August for Rookie of the Month, Aristides Aquino. Yes, let's hear a little round of applause for those guys. And then I finally want to talk about, and this is all fantasy related, and here's a pitcher that maybe on a waiver wire. Did you check out, and I'm sure I was not able to listen to other shows. I only know about my show this morning. Had a busy morning. But I'm sure that Lenny talked about it. Adam Wainwright pitched a heck of a game yesterday, shutout baseball, and only struck out one batter. You just don't see that this day and age, where a guy might go 7 or more innings, shutout baseball, only struck out one. But that's what Waino did yesterday. So you talk about a pitcher, and I know he's not the pitcher that he was. What's the old song? I'm not as good as I once was. I could sing it, but I don't think you really want that. Old country song, Anyway, that's Waino. That's St. Louis. And I said this last week. The difference in the St. Louis Cardinals now and the St. Louis Cardinals a month ago, starting pitching, starting pitching, starting pitching. Wainwright's been on his game. Dakota Hudson, Flaherty, the bullpen C-Mart, he's been pitching off his rear end. It's been a team effort pitching-wise and some timely hitting. So many of the Cardinal batters have not had good hitting years, and that's what I think makes St. Louis scary. If the pitching continues, the hitting can only get better. Now, their second baseman, he's had a great year. He's a .288 hitter, but Goldie, not a good Goldie year. Matt Carpenter, he's been absolutely horrible. You got to think these veterans may ramp it up in the playoffs. And I'm telling you, the Dodgers are not a lock. They're not a lock. They got the best record nationally, but they're not a lock for the World Series. Now, we'll challenge you to this, chat room, on-demand listeners. I've had people tell me, Arnie, I listen to you on the radio. I'm like, you're not in the chat room. Well, I listen to you on demand. Well, that's great. Lenny Melnick, Fantasy Sports, we try to go abroad. It's a great group of podcasters on this network. Lenny's incredible. Andrea, Out of Sight. Phil Chaplin, Trophy Town, Cam, Kevin Hastings. I'm telling you, this group of folks are incredible. I'm privileged to be able to be a part of this network. And we just continue to try to put out the best product that we can. The Cardinals can challenge the Dodgers. So can the Braves. But I want to ask you this, chat room. Do you really think there's an American League team pitching and hitting that can overtake either or Yankees or Houston? Okay, and I'm going to throw Minnesota at you. I just don't think their starting pitching can do it. I don't think the only team I think that would have a chance, and of course, who knows? You'll tell me, Arnie, you were so wrong on this one. Oakland. And I'm a little concerned about Oakland's bullpen, frankly. But we'll see. So let's turn the page. Last night, I was involved in a fantasy football draft. Now, this is unlike any draft you've been part of. First of all, it's a bunch of lawyers and judges. Which I have been during my lifetime, both. Very privileged. I've been very blessed. But it's 14 lawyers, judges, or some combination of that. And we're drafting players. And whoever wins, there's this Stanley Cup-ish trophy, it's that huge, that your name is engraved on, and you get to keep it for a whole year. A la Stanley Cup. Not called that. So we draft last night. I picked in the 12 spot. You want to hear my team? Are you interested? Here we go. I guess you're interested if I tell you, right? Here we go. Malpow, good evening. It's good to see you. Here we go. Quarterbacks. I'm not giving you the order, I'm giving you my team. It's a quarterback, 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, tight end, and a flex position league. So I've drafted a bunch of quarterbacks for some reason. I got Tom Brady. I've got Kyler Murray. And I've got Kirk Cousins. I like they all have different bye weeks. I drafted Kyler Murray purely upside. I may cut him if he doesn't perform. Kirk Cousins, they play Atlanta week 1. Here's my dilemma. Do I start Kirk Cousins week 1 against Atlanta? Atlanta's given up the most fantasy points to quarterbacks last year. But don't you just feel the allure of Tom Brady on Sunday Night Football, 8:30 at night against Pittsburgh? I could see 4 touchdowns easy. my wide receivers. I'm going to go back to the chat room in a minute. We're going to talk about the A's and the Angels. Wide receivers, I got Antonio Brown from Oakland, Mike Williams from the Los Angeles Chargers, Cooper Kupp from the Los Angeles Rams, backing them up. I didn't like these, but I was kind of out of gas. I picked up Deebo Samuel, who I like for the 49ers. He's their number 2 wide receiver. And my last pick of the draft, because I thought I needed another wide receiver, was Randall Cobb for Dallas. I could see him putting up some decent numbers, and he starts in a pinch, okay? He's my 5th wide receiver. Running back, I've got Le'Veon Bell. Heard of him? I've got Joe Mixon. And I've drafted a guy who got cut earlier, and I was reading something just before draft time last night, and now I read where LaShawn McCoy will be the number 1 back on a Kansas City offense that is the most prolific offense in the NFL. So, yes, I snatch up McCoy as my 3rd running back in a 2 running back league. On my bench, I added Ogunbowale, Tampa Bay. If you haven't heard about him, let me tell you a little bit. If I can find it here, I thought I just had it. You ever do that? You find something and it just gets away from you? All right, so here we go. Pewter reports Trevor Sikkema expects Dare Ogunbowale to open the year as the Tampa Bay 3rd down back. He has looked like the Bucs' best overall running back, whether it's been as a runner, pass catcher, or pass protector. Sikkema notes Ronald Jones has struggled in pass pro, though expect Jones to open the year in an even split. What makes Ogunbowale so attractive is he's trustworthy as a blocker, and the Bucs' offense is likely to be one of the most pass-heavy units in the league. As the 3rd down back, that means opportunity, and in fantasy, I'm all about opportunity. So, and my tight end, here's a guy that I think in fantasy football you got to have, Jared Cook. He had a great year with the Raiders on a team that didn't do great. Now he's in New Orleans, where Drew Brees loves a tight end. I think Jared Cook has the potential to be the number 1 tight end in fantasy football this year. He's on my fantasy team, drafted last night. And as a backup to him, I put the oft-injured Jordan Reed from Washington. Yeah, I know he gets hurt a lot. I don't need him except during a bye week unless, of course, Cook goes out. But Jordan Reed has tremendous upside when healthy, and that's how it rolls. So let's get back. Okay, so Malpal picked Kellen Winslow. I like that. I like that pick a lot. Yeah. There's some chat room discussion about Jose Barria possibly shutting out the A's tonight. You know, Oakland's such an interesting team right now. Sean Manaea pitched great baseball Sunday against the Yankees, 5 shutout innings. Jesus Luzardo struck out 10 Sunday in a final AAA start, threw over 90 pitches. He's coming to Oakland to a show near you this week. The A's, to me, I've talked about this a lot. I like the A's making the playoffs. I think it comes down to Tampa and Cleveland. One of those two, I think's out. I just really like the A's. I love their bats. Laureano's coming back later this week. That's what I'm reading. And if they have these arms, Manaea, Luzardo, added to Mike Fiers, who's pitching tonight, that's why I think Oakland wins tonight. I think Fiers is going to pitch an ace of a ball game tonight against Anaheim. I love Mike Fiers tonight in that matchup. We'll see how it rolls, won't we? But it's good to see you, Malpal, in the chat room. Send me something. We'll talk about it. Because I'm about out of material. Okay? I got a few more things. I love these Tuesday night shows. It's just like, you know, no rush. People out of the lineup tonight. Buster Posey, he's sitting. Lorenzo Cain, he's sitting. Lorenzo Cain makes me think, I was drafting in a league. Lorenzo Cain was ranked like 49th during draft time in an ESPN league I was in. I didn't pick him. Nobody picked him. I got to the 98th pick in the draft. You remember he was the 49th rated player, and I drafted Lorenzo Cain. I figure, 49 picks later, it's got to be worth it. He starts out okay, and after about 7 games of the season, I make a trade offer. I offer Lorenzo Cain in a trade, and the trade is accepted and approved, and I get Michael Brantley. Did you hear me? I get stinking Michael Brantley. What a player. Was that just not one of the greatest fantasy trades you've ever heard of? And I give up the oft-injured Lorenzo Cain hitting around 250, while Michael Brantley has absolutely been slaughtering it all year. Was I lucky? Yeah. Was I crazy like a fox? Yeah. I wanted Houston batters. Good year to have Houston batters. Jose Altuve off tonight. Check your daily lineups, guys. Eugenio Suarez out tonight. Gleyber Torres out tonight. Nomar Mazara out tonight. Rougned Odor out tonight. Chris Bryant scratched with knee soreness. Now here comes all the bad news, right? There's a Minnesota Twins pitcher, Randy Dobnak, getting his first career start tonight against Boston. He's been impressive in the minors, 3 appearances in the majors, and has yet to allow an earned run. Keep an eye on Randy Dobnak. And I got a feeling if he pitches really well, legend Lenny Melnick will be talking about him Wednesday morning. Now, I don't have a Wednesday morning show, so if I talk about him, it's going to have to be on Thursday. But keep your eye tonight on Randy Dobnak for the Twins. A lot of people out tonight. Ahmed Rosario, New York Mets shortstop extraordinaire, sitting on Tuesday. Mike Moustakas out of the lineup. I've gone over players who are playing. I'm not going to do that again. Eddie Rosario, not in the lineup. Gene Segura, not in the lineup. Wow. A lot of players not playing tonight. Check your daily lineups. If you're in leagues where you can set lineups, make sure you got them checked. Nick Pivetta being recalled by the Phillies. Oh, poor Nick Pivetta. He was a popular late round pick, wasn't he? This year in drafts. What a great ERA, 5.38. What a whip, 1.52. Still a chance. He's alive. But his fantasy owners are going to want to see something now. So let's see what we've got. Okay. I want to thank everybody for being with me. Chat room, great to see you guys. I got some things to do. Got a little work to do tonight. Got some houses to show. You know how that goes. Fantasy football, full swing. Fantasy baseball, still in full swing. We're going to talk about all of it. I'll see you back Thursday morning. Lenny will open things up tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So for tonight, go watch some games, and thank you for joining me on Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports.